All right, good morning. Let's try this again. I am Rick Gomez from El Paso, Texas. This is my morning live. I usually go live at 4:30. We're having some little technical issues here, but we'll get it. I go live every morning at 4:30 a.m. Mountain Time, which is 6:30 on the East Coast, 5:30 Central, and 4:30 here in the unknown time zone, Mountain Time. What we're going to do today, and what we've always been doing, I'm sharing what I've learned in my journey of technology, of life, of work, of earning income, making money, and what I wanted to do is to today share with you it's a couple of documents. It's really two documents, but it's really one document that I put together that I think everybody needs to have, primarily because it covers a story, a story that everybody lives, but nobody knows that they're living it. And you say, what are you talking about, Rick? So, when I was in college back in the day, way back, I had to take a creative writing course. And in the creative writing course, the teacher used a textbook called A Man with a Thousand Faces, and it was called A Man with a Thousand Faces, and storytelling through the hero's guide, or the hero's journey. And it was based on a book by a guy named Joseph Campbell that talked about every story has the same process. And, excuse me. And I wanted to share this process with you today because once you understand this story process, you're going to know your life. And I know that's pretty way up here thinking, but we're all on a journey. You know, I've realized, and I came to realize a long time ago that we're all on a journey. Everybody's individual. You're not like your neighbor. You're not like, hey, Yak, thanks for joining again. Curly, Nikki, Ricky Carpenter. I appreciate you guys coming out. Share this. Share. Tap, tap, tap. Give me some hearts so I can get up there. And so, Yak, you had a question about the last time. I'm going to stop for a minute and talk about to Yak. You had a question about preparing for an interview to be a chef. I guess at a kitchen or a restaurant. And so the follow-up questions that I would ask to you is, are you brand new starting out? Are you in the U.S.? Are you somewhere else? Where are you coming from, Yak? So I can sort of kind of focus that. But what I would do, and I'll do it right here real quick because I was going to do it anyway, was I would ask, my ChatGPT, you always have to sort of kind of prompt it a little bit. So I said, okay, great, starting out in the U.S. I have a friend, and do you want to be a chef, or do you want to be, do you want to be a chef? And what kind of foods do you cook? Hold on a sec. And so I'm going to use the ChatGPT to sort of kind of go through this a little bit. So yeah, it wants to be a chef in the U.S. and U.S. and wants to prepare for interviews. What do you suggest? So Yak, if you're still out there, I asked ChatGPT what you can do to prepare for a interview. For me, the very first thing you always have to be presentable. You can't have them when you walk in the door and they see you, automatically say, "Oh, not here, not for here, not for not this, not at my restaurant." So first impressions are really important, and so here, ChatGPT is telling me it's exciting for your friend. Preparing for a culinary job interview in the U.S. involves more than just cooking skills. It's about presentation, personality, and professionalism. All right? So, with ChatGPT's help, and with a little bit about my experience, I would tell you, again, when you go somewhere, they have to see you as somebody that they want to have an interview with. Regardless of what and where you've been, you have to present to them that they want to say, I want to see what that guy has to offer me. So the number one thing that Chat is telling me, and again, I use Chat because sometimes I forget, and these are good things to know, how to prepare for an interview. And in this case, for people joining us, we're helping Yak prepare for an interview at a restaurant. You need to research the role in the restaurant, learn their type of cuisine, style of service, and the chef's philosophy if you're going to work under somebody. Because one of these days, this will be you as a chef, and you're going to be hiring, and you need to be working toward that you see yourself as a chef in a kitchen cooking the food that you want to cook. And so, just like looking for any job, when they talk about going to look for jobs, you have to research the companies that you're going to work for, because you may not want to work for them. There's some people that don't like to work for companies that, like in the oil and gas industry, because it's not green enough for them. So you have to do some research. And like it says right here, know before you go. Employers love when you've done your homework. So you have to know who the owner is, what their philosophy about cooking is, what foods they serve. Because I know if you're a cook already and you're going to try to go in there and say, hey, I have these plates and I want to cook these plates or these dishes. They're going to say, not in our restaurant, we cook these dishes. And so all of a sudden you'll get into this head banging thing, right? So that's the first thing you don't want to do. You don't want to go in there with your own thing. You're going there to help them so that they can help you hone your skills, better your skills, learn a new thing, learn a new way to cook something, right? So again, I don't know everything about you, Yak, but what I do know is that you've asked to get this interview template. So, and again, Yak, I'll get you on the comments, and I can print this out for you, and I'll put it in a document. You can have it. So the culinary interview prep guide: know before you go. Employers love when you've done your homework. Number 2, prepare for common interview questions. Here are a few that my friend Yak, should be ready to answer. Why do you want to be a chef? What is your signature dish and why? How do you handle pressure in a busy kitchen? Tell me about a time you had to fix a mistake on the line. And what's your understanding of food quality standards? So there's a pro tip here. They call it the STAR method, that anybody that's interviewed for jobs or positions, they teach that. It's called situation, task, action, result for storytelling. You talk about the situation, you talk about the task that you were doing, what happened, what action you took, what result you got. So that helps you share. That helps you share the your story. You have to be a good storyteller when you're interviewing, because you're telling a person that you don't even know about your past and where you've learned and what you've learned and how it's impacted you. And knowing storytelling, because again, the number one skill is communication. And if they see that you're a good communicator, then they understand that you're able to tell them about you, and you can understand where they're coming from. Okay? So, again, prepare for the common interview questions. Why do you want to be a chef? What is your signature dish and why? How do you handle pressure in a busy kitchen? Tell me about a time when you had to fix a mistake on the line, and what's your understanding of food safety standards? Any interview is about assessing risk. The employer, the one that's doing the hiring, wants to know, am I taking a risk by hiring you? Or am I going to benefit from hiring you? If you're a problem maker, then you're a risk to that employer. If you're a problem solver, then you are a benefit to that employer. And you're a problem solver, not a problem maker. All right. So prepare for the common interview. Then practice cooking a demo or trial. Many restaurants ask chefs to cook a dish on the spot or work a trial shift, a stage. So, you have to be prepared. So preparation, prepare. Could you do it? And so if you have no experience, then you don't try to show experience and not be able to perform, right? So learn by bring your own knives, tools if requested. Focus on your cleanliness of your area, timing and communication. And prepare a go-to signature dish that showcases your skills and creativity. If you're going to work at a restaurant, and so I'm pretty sure, Yak, you've worked at a restaurant before. Give me a thumbs up or say yes that you've worked at a restaurant before. And you like the chef, and you like the food that came out of that restaurant. Then you probably picked up a lot of tips from that chef. And so you would want to, one, share those tips. Or first off, make sure that you understand what the tip was and how to use it in preparing a dish and presenting a dish. I don't know anything about cooking, but I do have a friend who used to work in a kitchen, and he said the biggest thing in the kitchen is to have everything that you need in front of you, because you don't want to be missing anything when you're trying to cook this dish. And I can't remember what he called it, but his name's Daniel, and I'll get with him too. Maybe he might be able to be a mentor to you. But he said he would have everything laid out in front of him. He knew where everything was. Then the other part was when you... I watch a lot of little movies, and I see they're always the ones that are cooking, and you're always going to have issues with chefs want to be the leader because they're cooking, but they only cook in a kitchen from an investor or a person who owns a restaurant. So you have to figure out a way to first learn how to work within somebody else's kitchen, because that's where you're going to do your learning. And so you got to be grateful that somebody gives you an opportunity to learn to cook using their kitchen. Now, just because you are, I see, yep, you did, so yeah, you worked. So you got to appreciate that somebody's giving you the opportunity to learn, and if you want to keep moving up the ladder, because again, just like anything else, there's a ladder of value in cooking. People that work a fry cook at a Burger King or at any other fast food place, that's just a fry cook. You're just doing simple things. But when you go prepare a meal that's going to have an impact on a restaurant, on a wine, on a city area, you have to have some special skills to make sure that the food is tasting good. And so, you have to learn how to cook a dish on the spot, work a trial shift, and then be prepared to cook. Again, dress professionally. Even in a kitchen's role, first impressions matter. We talked about that earlier. When they see you coming, they don't want to see somebody who's all long hair. Or they might see long hair, but not all over the place. If it's long, make it neat, shaven. Go back to the safety standards. What is that restaurant known for? Is somebody gonna get mad because there's a hair in the food, which everybody does get mad when there's a hair in the food. But wear your clean chef whites or professional attire if not in the kitchen. Be neat and presentable, and even your shoes should be clean. Again, nobody wants to have you come in something that you used last night. Make sure you're going in there clean. And so Yak, so far so good. Are you getting something out of this? Because I'm talking just to you, Yak. And I'll follow up with you more after this live, okay? So let's see here. Bring a culinary portfolio. There you go. Your portfolio. This has credibility and shows preparation. A resume with work history and certifications. High quality photos of dishes. References or letters of recommendation. And copies of food safety certifications. So that's all part of being prepared. Because nobody wants to spend time asking you for all these things. You should already come bringing them with you. All right? And so that helps you show preparation, show that you're thinking ahead. And then again, all those interview questions will help you prepare for that. So then down here, develop strong communication. So in a fast-paced kitchen, chefs are expected to take feedback well, because I was yesterday in the classroom, I had some feedback and I didn't like it. And I was like, what are they talking about? And so you have to respond, don't react. Think about whatever the feedback was to you. Think about it and then answer intelligently. Don't react and don't yell, and just answer intelligently. You have to give direction clearly. So you can't be throwing out 30 instructions at one time and you got people all around you. You got to be very clear, concise, to the point, what you want somebody to do if you want your kitchen to work smoothly. Be team players. All the movies that I watch, and it's always the same, you become a team. And if your team doesn't work well, then you're going to lose, no matter how good you are. Because if your team doesn't work, your whole thing won't work. Practice English interview phrases if needed, especially around kitchen terminology, safety protocols, and explaining your dishes. So Yak, tell me about that. Are you, do you know kitchen terminology? Do you know safety protocols? Do you know how to explain your dishes? I might have to take a sip of coffee because I got to warm up my vocal cords. And then so again, Yak, you can send the messages, the answers to these questions later, and I'll check my TikTok messages and we'll talk that way. Prepare questions for them. This shows confidence and genuine interest. Ask, what's the typical kitchen structure here? So now you're asking them to tell you why you should work there. And they'll be able to tell you about the structure. Who's in charge, who's second in charge, that kind of stuff. Again, I'm not in the restaurant business. This is just off the top of my head. Knowing what I know from experience and from life. Because everything's the same. It's about a process. And the kitchen is a process just as much as it is in a business environment. You're going to have inputs coming in. The ingredients, the food, the restaurant, the environment, the structure, the tables, the people that come into your restaurant, and then the processes that are in that restaurant. How they're greeted at the front door, how they're sat down, and if you think about it, in every restaurant they're all the same. They sit you down. Well, you go to the front desk. The receptionist there takes your name and party number. They'll tell you how long it's going to take to get a table, and then you go sit down. And then once you're there, the person that sits you down is not usually your waitress, and they'll say, well, so and so is your waitress today or your waiter today, and they'll come. But if you've already been there, you already know what the menu is, and you already know. Like my favorite Sunday morning